Welcome back to another Q&A, the second one I've ever done. Supposed to do one like a month or two ago, but I just opted against it. So I'll give you guys a second one for 2018. We got a pretty good amount of questions here, so let's just dive right into it, because why the hell not? So, Wolfie, or Wolfie with 3 I's in the end, asks me, who do you think will get drafted first overall? Rasmus Dahlin. There's nobody even in contention with him. You could make an argument for Andrei Svechnikov, but not a good enough one, because Rasmus Dahlin's going first overall. He will be a franchise defender for any team that picks him. He's just that good. Yeah, I don't see anybody that can. Maybe Adam Bachvist, but I think Svechnikov's better than Bachvist. Moving on, Mang IX asks, in your free time, what do you usually do? I understand the grind of YouTube, so I wanted to know what you did in your downtime from videos. So, as many of you know, I do have a job, like an actual job. I wish YouTube was my job. I can turn the brightness on my phone 1 second. I do work. I work pretty decent hours per week, so I'm usually at work, and the problem is I go back and forth to work. So I'm usually driving for about an hour each day. So an hour of my day each day is driving. From about 7 a.m. to like 1:30, 2 o'clock I work. And then I go home, and then I go back from like 5 to like 8. And some nights I have hockey till 9 p.m. So I really only have like 3 hours of downtime. And that's from when I get home from work until I go back to work. And in my downtime, I'm either thinking of ideas for videos, making videos, or just trying to be with my family, or do something, you know, so I'm not going crazy. So I actually have like some sort of life to live, but very rarely do I play Xbox on my own time. That's something I really have not had an opportunity to do. I can take these glasses off. I really have not played a whole lot of Xbox in my downtime. I played Xbox 2 days in a row now. I played NHL 18 Be a Pro because I haven't played it in a while, and I figured why the hell not. And that's really it. I really have not had a lot of downtime. Now that I'm going back to school in about a week from today, I'm really going to have nothing to do. I'm going to have no downtime. But when I do have time, what do I do when I have time? It depends. Like, you know, I like to hang out with my little siblings. Play hockey, try to play Xbox, and I don't know, it's really it. I watch YouTube videos. I don't really do, you know, very much. I hang out with my friends, yeah, but that's on rare occasion when I don't have work. So yeah, it gets a little hectic. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of downtime, but when I do, it's really just those things that I mentioned, which aren't very much. Valley Cats Fan 10 asks, how do the Rangers transform into a cup contender? This is a very good question, because there's not that I don't know. There are a lot of things that can happen to turn the Rangers into a cup contender. One, blow this season, sell at the deadline, get a lot of first round picks, and picks in general, and you got to wait a few years. The problem is our franchise goalie is 35 years old, and we don't know if we have a few years. So, to answer your question, to transform the Rangers into a cup contender this year, you got to trade picks and prospects and get quality players, including a very good defenseman and a high-scoring forward and a first or second line center. That's what I said. I said like a top 4 defenseman, a first or second line center, and a goal scorer, like a clutch goal scorer, like a guy that scores between 30 and 40 goals every year. So like a Pacioretty-esque, or something that can shoot the puck, like a not that he's available, but like a Pastrnak, a guy you can rely on to score timely goals. And they are not just on the trading block. So, moving on. Actually, once I finish answering that question, so in the long-term run, it would be just gather first-round picks. Because if you look at the Rangers' future, it is pretty damn bright. You know, I'm going to pull up Cap Friendly here. I was actually looking at this the other day, like shit that we got's going on right about now. Teams, Rangers. All right, so look at the future of the Rangers. Actually, not terrible at all. Zibanejad's 24, Kreider's 26, Miller's 24, Hayes is 25, Foss is 26, Lecheri 22, Buchnevich 22, VC 24, Nieves 23. You look at the defense. You got Brady Shea's 23 years old, McDonough's 28, Shattenkirk's 28. You got Igor Shesterkin's 22, 23 years old. Keitel and Anderson, Keitel 18, Anderson 19, Tambellini 23, D'Angelo 22, Pionk 22, Gropp 21, Day 19, Georgiev 21, Crawley 20, Halverson 21, Petrie 23, Lidl 21, Gettinger's 19, Fontaine's 20. We have a very good young Ryan Graves 22 years old. I love Ryan Graves, by the way. So that's a good start for the future. However, let's say the deadline this year, we trade Nash, we trade Grabner, we get 2 first-round picks and other mid-round picks for those guys. You go ahead and you trade Brendan Smith, you get like a mid-round pick. There's so much you can do in terms of future. You want to build a very solid team. This is the year. I mean, this is the year this is a big year for Gorton because he has to decide, listen, do I go into this draft with 3 or 4 first-round picks even 5 first-round picks by trading players, or do I try to compete this year, or do I just let what happen? Which I think the worst choice of that is to just let this team go through the motions and not acquire or send out anybody, because you'd be making a huge mistake. Because you're going to let Nash, Desharnais, Grabner, you're going to let these guys walk to free agency. So you're going to lose value like we lost value on Keith Yandle. We got a fucking 6th-round pick for a guy we paid a first, a second, and an A prospect for. And we let him walk to free agency basically for a 6th-round pick. That was terrible. You got to get value back for these guys. A big mistake by Glenn Sather was trading for Eric Staal and not trading away Keith Yandle that year, because it was quite clear the Rangers were not a good team the year we got Eric Staal. We weren't going to do anything. You could have saved 2 second-round picks, a B prospect, and probably gotten a 1st and a 2nd-round pick for Keith Yandle. And a team that was interested in Keith Yandle, I believe, was Boston that year. Let's actually go over to HockeyDB. And I'll show you, just for example, that was a 2015 draft. So we would have gotten the Bruins pick. For example, let's just say we got the Bruins 1st-round pick. I know they controlled a couple of 1st-round. They had 3 actually that year. We could have gotten Zaboral, DeBrusk, or Senyshyn, or Barzell, because I know the Rangers were targeting Barzell, or Kyle Connor, Thomas Chabot, Evgeny Svechnikov, Joel Eriksson, Colin White, Ilya Samsonov, Brock Besser, but yada yada. These were just 1st-round picks that we could have had we traded Keith Yandle to Boston. Yeah, just spouting out things here. Just what could have been. And if you look at who Carolina drafted with that 2nd-round pick that we gave them for Eric Staal, out of sheer curiosity, who did they draft? Oh, excuse me, yawning. We'd have to look it up. Let's see. Let's type in Eric Staal. We sent out. I don't recognize either one of those players, so never mind. Who gives a shit? But anyways, those are just 2 extra 2nd-round picks. Could have extra 1st and a 2nd-round pick, because you probably could have gotten that for Yandle. So yeah, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, because I want to see I'm a Rangers fan. I want to see us compete in the worst way possible. I want to see us win a Stanley Cup this year. But realistically, we're not going to compete this year. I think we're a good team. I think we can certainly make the 2nd or the 3rd round, but I don't think we can win a Stanley Cup this year. Not with this team. The best thing might be the best thing to do might be trade Grabner, trade Nash, trade all your UFAs, and Brendan Smith. Get him the fuck out of here. I'd even trade Paul Carey and Steve Kampfer. See what you can get for them. They're having a good year. Very good question. Very good question. I believe that's Daniel Cooney. I believe he changed his account to Valley Cats fan. I think it was. So thank you, Daniel. Moving on, Jason Forisi. Who is your least favorite player of all time and your least favorite Ranger of all time? Least favorite Ranger of all time is Darryl Powell. Terrible. Absolutely terrible Ranger. Hard to watch, too. But my least favorite player of all time. It's a very good question. What player do I hate the most? Because I really dislike a lot of players, but I don't know who I dislike the most of all time. Honestly, I'd have to say either Matt Cook or Eric Goddard. Now, that's going back to when the Penguins and the Rangers rivalry was pretty bad. And that was only about 10 years ago now. But I do remember Goddard and Cook being two players I just hated seeing out there. You know, Colton Orr and Eric Goddard would go at it a lot. So I like watching them fight, and you just naturally hated Goddard for that. But Matt Cook was such a piece of shit. I mean, he's such a dirty player. So maybe him. Either that. Yeah, I'm going to say one of those two. I can't decide, though. I've disliked a lot of players, but I've never blatantly hated a player so much where I can say he's my least favorite of all time. I've just had players I dislike, like a lot. Moving on to Nally Naloz. I think I said that right. Just let me know if I didn't. How is it the Rangers can have an season, yet still compete and even surpass teams in points that are considered having great years? Now, this is a very excellent question. I love this question because it is so true. The Rangers are arguably having a shit year, yet we're 12th in the NHL, and teams that are having good years that are below us, or teams are having good years and they're still below us. Like, it's interesting to say that. And I think the answer to that question is that for the New York Rangers, we hold such high standards for it because not only did we make the Stanley Cup, just a few years ago, but in New York, any New York team, we always have high standards because it's just the market. New York sports is big. Same way the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Montreal Canadiens or all Boston teams. Like, certain teams have standards. They need to be this good or the fan base is just restless. And I think that's what it is. The year the Rangers won the President's Trophy, we lost in the conference finals in Game 7 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and people said that was a shit year. So, we lost in the Stanley Cup Finals with the Kings. People said that was a shit year. So, again, the only way to not have a shit year as a New York team is to win the championship. And I think that's why the Rangers are having an year. But I don't really think we're that good this year, though. And one second, let me just fix this. In all honesty, I don't think we're having a great year. Just comparative to other teams ahead of us. Like, we can't beat Toronto. We can't beat Tampa Bay. So, I don't know. I really don't know. It is certainly up for debate because the Rangers team last year that went into the playoffs, we didn't expect much out of them. They got us to the second round to an Ottawa team we should have fucking beat. We didn't beat. I thought we could have beat Ottawa. I thought we could have beat them clean, but we fucking blew it because we did. I don't know what the hell happened last year in the second round. Right? That was weird. I thought that should be pretty easy, but evidently not. Moving on, Jack Lincoln playoff predictions. Now, this year is a little bit different because it's just been an interesting year in the NHL. Let's go to NHL.com. Take a look at the standings. Because I might be in the minority saying this, but I could see the Golden Knights pulling some shit and making their way past the second round. Now, here's the thing. I don't think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to get past the second round. Do not. I don't care how good they do in the regular season. Something about this team tells me they will not be able to do this past the second, even the first round of the playoffs. I don't think they can go very far. Here's why. Not that they're a one-trick pony or anything, but if you shut down Stamkos and Kucherov, which means you go against a team that has a really good defensive core, that's it. They have good depth scoring, but how good is that depth scoring when the top, pairs are being shut down? I don't know. I don't see Tampa Bay going for some reason. I don't know. It's just a weird intuition thing. I don't think they're going very far. I just got this much. I'll answer that later. I don't know. This year is so unpredictable. I feel like anything can happen this year. I don't know if I don't think Pittsburgh's going to return to the Cup. They might not even make the playoffs. So it's going to be a weird year. I mean, you could see a Washington-LA Cup final, but Washington seems to choke a lot in the playoffs, so I don't really want to give them a crack at it. You could see Toronto in the Cup. You could see LA make a return to the Cup. They're having a hell of a year, 53 points in 40 games. I don't know. I don't even want to give playoff predictions because I know they're going to be so wrong because this year really can go any way. I look like shit right now, don't I? I shouldn't have shaved, right? I think I should have kept the beard. I look too young. And I gotta gain weight or something. Gain weight or lose. I gotta do something, man. You could see St. Louis. You could see Nashville come back. You see the Devils. I don't know. I really don't. Even Winnipeg's having a really good year. They're 4th in the NHL. I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Because I think this year, like, the NHL, like, there's only a few teams you can say, like, actually suck. Like, there are teams that are bad, but there are only a few teams that actually suck. I think it's anybody's year. I think this year is anybody's year minus a couple teams at the bottom of the pile, but I really think this is anybody's year. I think the NHL is that wide open this year. We'll wait and see. I can't even give predictions. Because I don't have a prediction. It's just too wide open. So I'll just be an asshole and say Vegas and Tampa Bay. Because I don't have a prediction. But good question though, because it's a year to make predictions, I suppose, because you really don't know. Denisa. I believe that's Nisaxo. I could be wrong. Which players from Hartford should get called up to the Rangers soon? So we saw Lettieri. I don't know why he was scratched in the Winter Classic. I suppose it worked out for the best. But I would like to see... I'm actually going to change this question around on you. Who would I like to see the Rangers get called up this year? I would like to see Kaido get called back up. I'd like to see Ryan Graves. Let me just pull up the... go back to Hockey TV. And I will tell you everybody I would like to see in the NHL this year. Especially, if, let's just say, like, there's 5 games left to Rangers clinch a spot. I would want to see Hedl. I would want to see Gilmore. Pionk, Graves, I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Gropp, although it's unlikely. D'Angelo's got to come back at some point. Maybe even Kosmachuk. But mostly defensemen. Like, I want to see Graves. I want to see D'Angelo. I want to see Gilmore. And I want to see Pionk. I want to see those 4 defensemen in the NHL at some point this season. They got to get a look eventually. But the Rangers' decor is so deep, which is the problem, which is part of the problem here. We have way too many defensemen. I mean, you're stunting growth of players, and that's what sucks. We really are stunting the growth of a lot of guys. Because I could tell you right now... Ooh, one second. How's my fantasy team doing? Damn, I'm only second. That sucks. I lead the entire league in, like, points, but I'm second. I'm pissed. We have too many defensemen on this team. Kampfer, Stahl, and Smith all got to go. Open up spots. That's what I'm saying, right? Open up those spots. She also asked, which players should the Rangers acquire/trade at the deadline? Now, I had mentioned before, if we are to sell this year, I'd like to see Nash, Grabner, Desharnais. Again, we'll just pull up. I should just keep the friggin' tabs open because I keep going back and forth to them. I'll tell you everybody I want to get out of here at the deadline if it comes down to that. Nash, Hayes, Grabner, Desharnais, Carey, Holden, Kampfer, Smith, Stoll. So I want 9 players and Palick, 10 players out if we're not trying to play for a cup this year. I want to see all 10 of those guys out. Here's why. Picks and prospects. We need to build this team from the ground up. There is no point in swapping Nash, Grabner, any of those players I named for another player. There is literally no point. Sell them. Get picks. Build up the youth. Because not for nothing, our forward youth kind of sucks. You have Hedl, Anderson, maybe Lettieri, and then really drops off from there. So yeah, that's what I want to see. If we go the route of competing, I'd like to see either Mike Hoffman, Derek Brassard, or what's his name, Max Pacioretty. Those would be the 3 players I would look at. Yeah, those would be the guys I would want, preferably, or John Tavares, but I'm not gonna go crazy about that one. Also, do you watch WWE? If so, who are your top 5 favorite wrestlers of today and all time? I don't watch WWE anymore. Again, I really don't have a lot of downtime, so I haven't watched it in a very long time. So I can't even tell you now, but of all time, it's been so long since I've watched WWE. Let me see if I can... Oh, yeah, I'm so stupid. So I got Triple H, Shawn Michaels as my 1-2. Who would be after that? I guess Hornswoggle, because he's... part of DX, if you can count him as a wrestler. We won't count Hornswoggle. I just liked him. I liked his DX story arc. Pretty funny. After that, I guess John Cena, Big Show, and then I'd have to go with like a Rey Mysterio. I think those are my top 5 all time, if I'm being fair. Moving on, Paulie Nieminen. Who is your favorite prospect playing in Europe and in North America? Favorite prospect playing in Europe that's been drafted? Elias Anderson. Hasn't been drafted? Rasmus Dahlin. North America. That's been drafted. My favorite prospect in North America. Who is my favorite prospect in North America right now? Like if we're going about born in North America, I'm going to say Casey Middlestat. I think that's a good one. Favorite prospect that hasn't been drafted yet that lives in was born in North America. Oh, I know. Jack Hughes. Hi, bro. Have you guys seen this kid yet? They think he's gonna go he's gonna be like franchise player good. He's related to Quinn Hughes, gonna get drafted this year. But this kid Jack Hughes, they're saying he's the real freaking deal, and he's gonna be mad good. He's a forward. Yeah, he's 16 years old and he's on the UA Team USA National Development Team. He's also on U17. He's got 15 points in 6 friggin' games. The kid's a beast. On the Toronto Marlboros midget AAA team, played 80 games. He had 159 friggin' points. According to ISS Hockey in 2017, electrifying and dynamic player, has the ability to be a difference maker, very elusive, attacks lanes, always a step ahead, plays smart. They think he's going to be incredible. They have him, top prospect eligible for the 2019 draft. They think he might go first overall. Good question. A follow-up question. Who is going to win the World Juniors this year? I think it's going to be America again. I think they've got a good chance. That's not even being biased. That's me they beat Russia yesterday. I think Canada and Sweden both have chances, but I think if I'm picking a winner, I think it's going to be USA. And I doubted the shit out of US before this tournament started because we lost so many guys. You know, we don't have Charlie McAvoy anymore. We don't have those guys anymore. Let me see. Charlie McAvoy. I'll show you their team that they had last year because last year was disgusting. World Juniors. Yes. No, oops, wrong one. Yeah, U20. Yeah, they don't have Keller, Colin White. I think Greenway's still there. But they like the McAvoy. They don't have those guys anymore. Luke Kuhn and Tage Thompson. So I doubted them a lot, but they look really freaking good. So I'm gonna go with USA, but I'm gonna go with Sweden as a good number 2 choice. I think they've got a good chance at winning it too. They got a great team. Where would you want to go in 2018? Paulie also asked, where would I want to go if I was going to travel in 2018? And I recently went back to New York, but I would want to go back to New York. I just want to see my family. That's all I want. I just want to see my family and friends again in New York. That's all I ever want. I can go on vacations, but I'm not a big vacation guy. I just want to be with my family. You know, so I guess it would be go back to New York. Would you rather have finger-sized nipples or nipple-sized fingers? Huh. I'm going to go with the finger-sized nipples because I'll just have surgery to get that fixed. One sec. I'm doing something right now. Yeah. Stop. There's no such thing as recording time for me. Never. I'm barely home. Always interrupted when I'm home. Moving on. Paul D asked, did you check out Red Hot and Blue in Raleigh yet? No. I've only been to Raleigh once, but I'll have to take a look at it. I've heard of it, though. I have heard of it. I believe it was you that mentioned that to me. And I have looked it up, but I have not checked them out yet. Also, do you see the Rangers making any moves before the trade deadline? No. Do I think they should? Yes. But do I see them? No. And that's because I think Gorton, similar to me, oh god, they're both Ranger fans. I don't think they see a move worthy making right now because they don't want to make a move like the Senators do. Give up something worthy of like a first-round pick or a good prospect, and then suck ass. You know, I don't think they want to do that. A minor move, like a minor league trade or something like that, of course. But like, I don't see them doing anything roster changing before the deadline. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope something does happen. I hope we trade Nash, Grabner, Desharnais, Smith, Stahl, Pavlik, Hayes. I hope those guys get traded. We bring in picks and prospects, or hell, even a great freaking player. Because here's the thing. That's actually all the questions, by the way. But let's just say if we traded Kevin Hayes, and we packaged Kevin Hayes in player X, Y, and Z, and brought in a hella good player, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. But realistically, I don't know. I don't think they're going to. I doubt it. There's just so much we can do. That's the thing, right? I actually made an armchair GM like a week ago. If we sold everybody at the deadline, just did a straight sell. So you trade Nash for a first and a third. You trade Grabner for a first and a fourth. You trade Desharnais for a third. Carey for a sixth and a seventh. Holden for a third. Camphor for a fifth. Pavlik for a seventh. Smith for a third. You're going into the 2018 draft with 3 first-round picks, a second, 4 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, a sixth, and 2 sevenths. That's in the deepest draft that we've seen in a long time. That's friggin' awesome, and I would freaking love that. That would be amazing. And another thing too, with that, I mean, sure, the roster's going to be friggin' ass, and we're going to suck the rest of the year. But check it, ready? So that's what we look like now. You have $10.8 million in cap space. You go into that offseason with like 30-something million. You could do something like trade Brendan Smith. We already trade Brendan Smith. Whatever. Trade Hayes and the third-round pick that you get with the Nash trade. Send him to Minnesota for Jonas Brodin. You got a good defenseman there. Then next year, you could sign John Tavares if he hits free agency. You could sign. You don't even need to sign anybody else. You just sign Tavares. You sign back all your players, and then next year you go with Hedel, Tavares, Miller, Buchnevich, Zibanejad, Kreider, Vesey, Anderson, Zook, Lecchieri, Nieves, Foss, Paul Carey is your extra player. You re-sign him in free agency. McDonough, Brodin, Shattenkirk, Graves, Shea D'Angelo, Neil Pionk, your 7th defenseman, Hank, and Georgiev. If you freaking want Georgiev, you can sign another goalie. We have another $4.5 million sitting around. Like, there's just so much opportunity for this roster, and we can go anywhere with it. We're in an ideal spot for a team that's looking for a million things to do. Because we have a million things to do. There is no considering what we can't do. Because we could compete. We could not compete. We could blow up. We could build. We could do so many things with the team that we have now, which makes it so exciting and so interesting to see what does happen at the trade deadline. Because at the trade deadline, I'm anticipating big things. I'm either anticipating the Rangers bringing in a good amount of decent players, a couple of really good players, or selling shop. So many things that happen this year, which makes it so exciting, and I can't wait. Also, before I let you guys go, if not the game tonight, but the game after tonight, game 41, I will be doing another Ranger statistics video, and there will be no math involved because it's just going to be doubling their numbers, and we will see what the point output for the Rangers will look like this year and where they will sit in the standings. Until then, thank you guys for watching the video. We're going to end. Finish everything that I didn't hearing is I'll see you on the next one. Peace.